Well, I'm out here with a gun, and I just saw a hawk over here, and I've been looking everywhere for her. But a hawk got Mama Bear today. She's right there. I've been looking everywhere, and she's right here by the cabin. And it looks like he got her a couple hours ago, and he was hanging out here eating it. It's a red hawk, red-tailed hawk. Goodness gracious, that sucks. Figures. Well, you can't see it, but Mama Bear's body is right on the other side of this cart, which I'll probably just spare you it anyways. It wasn't ripped up that bad because he had eaten the neck and the head, but he hadn't gotten to any of the body really yet. But Buck just went over there and tried shuffling her like he does. You know, they'll put a wing down. They'll put a wing down and shuffle him, and he realizes. At first he didn't realize what it was, and then it took him a minute to realize that it was Mama Bear. He's been looking for her for the last couple hours. But he knows it's her now. He's realized that it's her. So he stopped calling for her. He was calling constantly for her, but now that he's seen the body and he's like looked over it a little bit, he's realized that it's her. So he knows she's not coming back now. His mood's changed a lot. You can definitely see he's bummed. I think he wonders if I killed her. But I'm pretty sure he saw the hawk earlier. That's how they all got away, except for her. So I have a feeling he was hiding at the front of the property, which he usually doesn't hang out there. But when I got back, I went to town real quick to get some stuff, and I went with my neighbor. So when I came back, he was at the front of the property with these other two girls, and I couldn't find Mama Bear, so I started looking everywhere, and he was calling. When I got to the property, he was already calling, and he was just calling nonstop for quite a while. And then I looked everywhere for her, and she was in the bushes right next to the cabin, so she must have tried running back to the cabin, and the hawk got her in the bushes there. So yeah, I've had these birds for a year and 3 months, or a year and 2 months now, and hadn't lost a bird yet, so it is a bummer. Gave some crab ragoon for Buck. He usually doesn't eat that, but he loves cream cheese. He loves crab ragoons, but they're not good for him. I gave him one because I knew he'd be bummed. They all looked him over, all number 2 and Fluffy. They all looked the body over, and they realized who it is. They looked at it like it was food at first, but then the girls realized who it was too. Now they all know what's up, so guess we're gonna bury her. She's already been ripped up pretty bad by the hawk, so I guess I'm just gonna go bury her somewhere. What do you think, Buck? Have a little funeral for your girl? You didn't do a good job today at protecting her. What the hell happened? He usually does such a good job. He's a good rooster. But yeah, so that sucks. Lost one of the chickens. Like that crab ragoon number 2? Good, huh? Little freaky. Number 2's been pulling feathers out too on her back and on her wings. They're getting ready to molt, so hopefully that's just part of her molting. And she's not going to be like obsessive, but maybe she's getting obsessive and pulling her own feathers out. I don't know. But yeah, it sucks. Well, it's grim. There's a headless chicken. Her head's tucked under her because there's still a little bit of head left, but the hawk pretty much ate her head and her neck first, and I got to her and scared him off before he ate her all. I'm gonna bury her. I mean, I would just let the hawk and the raccoons eat the rest of her, but this chicken was more like a pet than it was a chicken. She was such a good girl. She'd knock on the door every time she wanted a little treat. And she hanged out on the porch. She hung out on the porch and hung out by me a lot more than all the other chickens. She's kind of a fatty. She was quite overweight compared to the other chickens, which she doesn't even eat nearly as much as Fluffy does, but she still was a little overweight. She also, I don't think, laid any eggs, even though she's the one that controlled the nesting box and like sat on the eggs the most. She never ever had any eggs. Mama Bear, we will remember you forever. Come on, Buck. Buck, Buck. Call him Buck over so he can say his farewells. Buck understands what's going on. The other chickens either don't understand or don't care. I mean, the other chickens, the hens don't really like each other. So, and if two of them liked each other the most, I'd say Fluffy and number 2 like each other the most, and they all got along, but they didn't fight or anything, but they didn't really hang out with Mama Bear. She kind of hung out with Buck and on her own. You know, the other 2 will hang out sometimes. But yeah, anyways, that's just a grim shot of a hole in a chicken. Buck, you coming? He's over there, but I was gonna let him say goodbye, but he kind of said his goodbyes. You know, like roosters do this thing where they shuffle their wings to kind of like when they want a hen to go somewhere, or they want to say like, you're my hen. They do this thing where they shuffle their wings. If you have a rooster, you know what I'm talking about, but it's like a sign that he knows that this chicken is one of his hens. And he came over and inspected the body, and then he shuffled her and tried to wake her up, and then he realized what had happened. So I'm sure he saw the hawk when it came in, but he shows no sign of him fighting. Like usually when he fights with a hawk or something, he'll be missing some feathers, and his feathers, he's not missing any feathers at all. So I have a feeling they all just probably ran under the cabin, and this is the bushes that she was in right here. So she probably made it back this far, and they probably kept going, and they probably got under the cabin, but she didn't, and the hawk got her. So it's sad, but I gotta go find Buck, see if he wants to say goodbye one more time, and then I'm gonna bury her up. And yeah, it's grim. It's sad, but it shouldn't be so sad for a chicken. Chickens die every day, but I've had all those chickens, and all my neighbors have told me like, oh, eventually you're gonna start losing chickens, and Buck does such a good job at fighting things off that I've been lucky. This is the end of the summer of our 2nd season, and this is the first chicken I've lost. So I'm gonna replace her with 2 more chickens, so Buck will have an extra hen. I want to get 2 more hens in all, so I'd like to have 5 hens plus him, 6 chickens, and Buck can handle 5 hens. He handles 3 hens easily and still has a lot of energy left over, so I get him a couple more. He'll like that. But alright, yeah, grim video. But thanks for joining me, Uncle Dave with DEECEE Adventures. Well, Buck's decided he's just gonna do a 3 cock-a-doodle-doo salute. That was the 3rd one you just heard. One more, Buck! Oh, there he goes. One more! Good boy. Alright, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. And a sweet little headstone. Perfect. I'm sure by the end of the winter, Buck, Fluffy, and number 2 will be joining her.